Welcome in Coach Musselman. And Hutch, get us started, please.
Hey, Coach, I was wondering, I was going to ask you a follow-up to something you said last night. You mentioned to us, and I think to Chuck on the radio, that sometimes this team could be a challenge to coach. I was wondering if you could maybe explain what you meant by that.
Wow, we're going whole fastball right away. Way to come at me, Hutch.
Sorry, Coach.
It's all good. No, I mean, I think that anytime you have new faces, new players, it can become a challenge. I think that, regardless of sport, when you coach a team sport, it's always about role definition, role acceptance, and then thriving in your role. All those things become, really important. And, the players, they're the ones that make the X and O's come to life. We can kind of lay out the plan, but it's up to the guys to execute. And like I said, make it come to life. But yeah, I think that, we got, some strong personalities. We have a group of guys that's going to continue to evolve to get to know each other, both on the floor and off the floor. We've only had the 2-game neutral site games where we got to, bond away from our own environment, which I think is really important. And as the season progresses, just like last year's group, I thought once we started traveling together, eating more meals together, all those type of things. And we're still trying to figure out our identity, both offensively and defensively, Hutch. So because of all those reasons, it can be a challenge to coach this group.
And it seems like y'all have defended the 3-ball a lot better the last 3 games. Do you feel like you've maybe turned a corner in that regard?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job, Hutch, of eliminating 3-point attempts. We're not seeing quite as much the volume. Obviously, if you're close enough to a guy and he doesn't want to take it, that discourages the 3. But certainly if you look at those numbers from the first 3 games, we've made dramatic improvements in a lot of areas, and that being one of them for sure.
Dudley.
There's been a lot of talk about playing in-state schools, and they didn't want to do it for many years, but it seems like that's something you welcome. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Dudley. I think it's I think it's important. I think it's good for the state basketball wise. Whether it's, elementary school players, junior high, high school, I think it's good. It's good for, there's people from all over the state that have gone to Central Arkansas and Little Rock. And so I think there's an added dimension when you play someone in state. Certainly, like our staff, people on our staff feel really, really comfortable with the communication between UCA and their staff. Certainly my comfort level with Coach Walker at Little Rock. Let's face it, he's one of the greatest players in the history of this, University of Arkansas program. And if he wants to, bring his team, to Fayetteville to play, that's non-negotiable. It should happen because Coach Walker meant so much, to the history of the Razorback basketball, and both programs really great at communicating with us to make these 2 games this week happen. Like I said, the communication, the camaraderie between UCA and Little Rock and our men's basketball programs are, in my opinion and in our staff's opinions, really, really got good synergy between the 2 programs.
Thanks.
Curtis.
Hey, Coach, looking at UCA, they're 1-6, but it looks like a pretty challenging schedule, and they beat Oral Roberts. What's your take on them so far, and is there anything that stands out to you about the way they play?
Yeah, I think, because we're not practicing today, so in all honesty, Curtis, we're got some of our own issues that we're working on today, and we'll start diving into UCA and what we have to do. We can't give up any 3 balls to number 14 Cooper. Got to do a really good job on 34 Baker, who can also make 3. So we understanding our area of improvement, constantly defending that 3-point line. 23 Hunter can make 3s, and obviously number 4 Hall is a great athlete. Runs the floor for them, excellent rebounder for his position. So all those things become important. And then they have a group of guys, whether it's Hunter or Darius Hall or Cooper, a group of guys that all are capable or averaging between 7 and 12 points a game. So it's a balanced scoring attack as well.
And I was hoping to get your evaluation of Devoe's play so far this season. Is he a guy that you'd like to get more scoring from? And then how have you felt he's impacted the game in other ways?
Yeah, I think Devoe's done an incredibly great job defending. He gets the tough assignment every night. I think the combination or the duo of Devoe and JD Note in the backcourt from a defensive standpoint, really good. I thought last year Devoe did a phenomenal job of basket cutting, of running the floor and scoring in transition. And we'd like to see him do more of that, more basket cutting, more transition baskets, running the floor, whether it's with the ball or without the ball. I think a lot of his strengths this year, or a lot of his strengths from last year to this year, they're not in alignment because he's playing a different position. We certainly don't want him to get away from what his strengths were, which we all saw last year, his ability in the open floor on receiving kick ahead passes, and his ability to create offense through his defense in jumping in passing lanes. And it's a difficult transition, to go from a off guard / small forward to the point guard position. I think that, whether it's Devoe or JD or Chris, I think all 3 guys, there's been ebbs and flows on this transition to that position.
Thank you.
Nate Allen.
Yeah, Eric, when you do get to practice, just how are you going to address like the turnovers and the things, the areas that you saw were lacking in Sunday's game?
Yeah, Nate. I think we just continue to talk about a shot on goal. We've had some. This year has been way more up and down with the turnover issues. Some games we've done a really good job. Against Penn, the turnovers were all self-inflicted. Those were on us. Those were trying to thread the needle, trying to make home run plays, not hitting singles, trying to hit triples and inside the park home runs. We don't need that. We need simple, easy passes to make the offense flow. And a lot of it starts at our point guard play, but I mentioned last night, if we're going to put the ball in Jalen's hands a lot as a point forward, we can ill afford to have him having 4 turnovers as well. And whether it's a long outlet pass that gets stolen, whether it's a lob that we throw that's 25 feet over the guy's hands, we don't want people in the first and second and third row to have to wear a helmet based on our wild passes. So we've got to take care of the basketball to the best of our ability.
Also, unless told otherwise, I guess we're doing Little Rock in this press conference as well, just kind of what you know about them and as far as their club.
Yeah, I never look ahead. Like I said, I'm going to really dive into Central Arkansas, when we prepare for tomorrow. And then, with Little Rock, obviously I got incredible respect for Coach Walker. He's a tough-minded guy. whether it was teams that he coached in the NBA, whether it's Little Rock, they always compete. We actually played Coach Walker in Little Rock at Nevada as well. We had an exhibition game with them in year one that I was here. They got two guys who can shoot it. Number 11, their point guard. Number 5, the backup point guard, White. Both those guys can make threes. Their starting off guard, 33, can shoot the basketball. Backup power forward, number 20, can shoot the ball. Got to keep, 25 is kind of their go-to scorer. He scores the ball. He rebounds at a high level. And then, like I said, defending the 3 with those, those 4 guys in particular, number 33, 11, 5, and 20. And we got to take care of the ball. They are a team that will create some steals. They have a good turnover margin. So we got, we do have to take care of the basketball as well, against Little Rock on Saturday.
Thank you.
Bobo.
Hey Eric, how you doing? Well, as you predicted, you guys are number 10. I voted you a little bit higher, but
You had us at 7. We looked that up, Bob.
oh, okay. Well, it's good to know you're checking up.
There's some guy in San Diego. He had us rated pretty low. I'm a little confused. I thought I had some San Diego friends, but I guess that's not the case.
So no burritos for him, huh?
No, my mom hit me on that. She asked what I did to the guy. I said, I don't even know him, but
Okay.
oh well.
Maybe that's one of those surf shop hoodies or something. But seriously,
No,
number
the guy probably lives inland, actually.
Yeah.
Probably not a beach guy.
Yeah. Number 10, obviously that's great especially when you have the roster turnover you did. And yet I get, if you're a good coach, you're never satisfied. So how do you kind of reconcile being ranked 10 with a lot of new faces, but also, you're upset about the turnover, your 3-point shooting hasn't been very good. You've got stuff to work on. I mean, how do you kind of balance all that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the phrases that, that I've talked to the team about and will continue is, it's all about backing up, optimism with actual performance. That's a phrase that I think is really important to us. We understand there's been optimism since, the off season and then what, how are we going to back it up, with how we produce? Is really important. I think anytime you're ranked, there's also responsibility. There's a target, and you've got to understand that. When you're a top 10 team, and somebody, beats a top 10 team, there's celebration. And so you've got to understand that, feeling. I mean, I know that the 17 weeks at Nevada, when we were in the top 10, there's an added pressure that you play with too, Bob. I mean, I can't really describe it. We want to try to eliminate as much pressure as we can. I mean, we still want to be able to celebrate, victories, but when you're top 10, top 15, sometimes you win a game and, you're not celebrating. I think you guys could probably feel that last night with me. I mean, I came home and Danielle, my wife, quickly reminded me that, we won. And so she told me she stopped talking about the turnovers and the sloppy play and stop talking about the missed 3. And please remember there's 2 columns, a win and a loss. And so she basically told me I could bring that garbage attitude only after a loss. And she's, put it in perspective and is right. So we do have areas we got to get better at, but, to be ranked in the top 10 is something that I think is a nice added incentive to get people to Bud Walton. It's a top 10 team. Come and get rowdy, get there early. We, like for instance, our warm up, we're doing something that's unique. It's different. Our players have spent a lot of time on the warm up, and quite frankly, Wednesday might be the last time we do it because the players came to me and felt like maybe there would be a little bit more energy for the warm up. And they brought that to my attention before yesterday's game. We're going to try it again Wednesday. and see how it goes. And then after that, meet as a group to see if we'll do it again, or if we'll just go back to traditional, what everybody else in the country does. We feel like it's something unique, something different. And we hope to generate a little bit more enthusiasm on Wednesday for the warm up, and then leading into the game, maybe than what we've produced of late.
You were talking about the UCA, Ross. You probably know that Darius Hall played here, right? Did you know that?
Yes, I did know it.
I figured you did.
When Hunter called me to interview me, I watched all the games, Bob. I know all the guys that were here, past, present, future. Yes, I do. Darius is really active, and I watched him when he played at DePaul too, when on off nights, and he plays with great energy, and have a lot of respect for how hard he plays.
I've got one more if we don't get you before ULR. You and Daryl, there's several former NBA coaches that are coaching in college. Fred Hoiberg and Patino, and but you
don't forget Coach Cal.
Yeah, Coach Cal. Yeah, there's another one. I'm sure there's several, but to me, you and Daryl are unique because you went from being a head coach to sitting out a little bit, spend time with your kids, and then you became an assistant. And Daryl wanted to be a D1 coach, but he couldn't get a job. He took a D2 job. I mean, to me, you guys really, I guess, humbled yourselves, weren't afraid to do that, and it's worked out pretty well. I was wondering if you could talk about that. First of all, the transition from NBA to college, and then the fact you guys maybe took less travel paths than most guys do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that athletic directors, for the most part, don't respect what goes on at the NBA level. I found that through a lot of interviews. Obviously, I'm lucky that I found someone that does respect the NBA and understands what goes into it. But I know Coach Walker ran into the same questions that I did. Can you recruit? If you're used to flying the way that NBA teams fly and stay in Ritz-Carltons, and your NBA per diem is $150 a day, like how are you going to, coach at a low major or a mid major, whatever level it is to get your first start? How are you going to react to that? And I think Coach Walker proved, by taking the route that he did, that he just wanted to coach and have an impact on student athletes, which is the same thing with me. Like Daryl and I are probably like, we'll probably go coach anywhere, coach on the moon if it meant, you could be a head coach and go and compete. That's the type of guy that he is. And, not surprised that he took the route he did, and not surprised by the success that he has either.
Okay. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Scotty.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious if Jalen reminds you of anyone else maybe that you've coached or played against, just with his mix of, vision and shot creation for others.
Scotty, off the top of my head, I don't think so. I guess Brad Miller would probably be the closest. Brad was a great passer. When I had him with the Sacramento Kings, although it was only 82 games and they got rid of me. So it wasn't a long time with Brad, but, for that one NBA season, I thought that we would put Brad on the elbow area and let him make plays in a similar way that we do, with Jalen in our elbow point forward position. So I guess, Scotty, if I had to, say one guy, it'd probably be Brad.
And then how valuable are those skip passes that he makes? I know you guys probably track, your efficiency when the ball touches second side, third side, but like how valuable are those? And then just his passes seem to be pretty on the money, and, guys are, I don't know if they're shot ready all the time, but he kind of puts it in the pocket for shooters.
Yeah, I think that what's happened now, Scotty, is our guys are, like when Jalen has the ball, it happened yesterday. We got like 3 guys cutting. When other guys have the ball, nobody cuts. Like they're like, I'm not wasting my energy cutting. I'm not going to get the rock. But when Jalen has the ball, like all of a sudden, like everybody started to cut yesterday because they were like, well, I'll probably get a chance to get a layup. And so now we got to talk tomorrow about, hey, we can only have one guy cut when Jalen has the ball. Let that guy cut. If he doesn't get it, let him get out. And then a second cutter can happen, and then a third cutter. And then certainly with the skip passes, what you see on film, you do see guys shot ready when Jalen has the ball. Other guys, when they have the ball, they could be ordering popcorn, because maybe they don't think they're going to get it right away. So Jalen, our antennas are up that something good's going to happen from a passing standpoint when he has the ball.
Nick.
Coach, just kind of going back to something Bob referenced, the last 3 games, 3 threes in the last 3 games, shooting, I think it's 15.6%. Is that just the identity of this team, that you're moving away from the 3 ball and more becoming an inside, paint team, or is the 3 ball something that you want to get back to?
Well, whether they're making them or not, they're still shooting them. I haven't given them the red light yet, but it could be coming. Look, I mean, our philosophy's always been to try to, make threes. And I think we will knock them down. I still think it's early in the season. I think we've got to eliminate the dribble into the 3-ball shot. We've got to have more spot up threes. For whatever reason, we're not getting many corner threes. We took 3 yesterday, which is not enough because that's usually a high percentage shot. We're taking too many 3 balls from the 45-degree angle and up. Those are the hardest 3 balls. So we need more corner threes off swing, catch and shoot, not off the bounce 3 balls. I saw a stat. We were 8-1 when we shoot below 20% from 3. So that's a good thing. That means one of my old assistants in the G League sent me a text last night and said, normally teams would be 1-8 in those situations, but our teams, when we don't make shots, because it gets said in the huddle, hey, we can't throw the ball in the ocean standing on the beach. We've got to do X, Y, Z because the shots aren't falling. You got to rebound at a high level. You got to draw free throws attempted. You got to get defensive stops. So what our identity is going to be, I really don't know. Cosmetically, I would like us to make some threes to stretch the defense out, and that would open up more cutting, more dribble drive penetration. But we've been a very inconsistent 3-ball shooting team. But somebody's going to give us the threes, and they're going to get popped in the head quick because we're capable of knocking down shots. I thought it was great that Stanley made some threes. Trey Wade can make an open 3 with his feet set. Adisi now has had, 2 games of late where he's hit a 3 on low volume attempts. We all know JD can get, blistering hot from 3, just as he can get blistering cold from 3. But Chris, can get hot too. He also, by the way, can get cold, but I think we got 2 guys that can really put together hot streaks in JD and Chris from 3.
Andrew Ellis.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Adisi making threes on low volume attempts. I was just wondering, during the recruitment process, did you envision him being maybe a little more perimeter oriented, or did you know he would kind of bring this inside presence? I mean, obviously it's working pretty well, whatever he's doing.
Yeah, Andrew, I mean, just because his coach at South Dakota was my assistant in Rapid City in the old CBA. So I had known Stanley's game inside out. He can definitely make threes. I thought that he would get more free throws attempted than he has right now. That was a big part of what we thought he would be able to add to us. So I think as he feels more and more comfortable, he will be able to add a little bit more FTAs, which we think is really important. But he's lethal in the mid range. Like he rises up over people in that 12 to 15 foot range. And he can also make threes when he has good shot selection with his feet set.
Andrew, you want to follow up with that?
No, I'm good.
And Randy, take us home. Close us out.
It better be strong, Randy, if you're the closer.
Gosh, Andrew got my fastball. I got to go now to a curveball. Geez, all these hard questions. Now left with the powder puffs. All right, Eric, last night you pretty much went with a 6-man rotation in regards to minutes. Is that kind of what you're settling into, or is it situation by situation? Because last night Chris only ended up with 16 minutes. We know the minutes for Tony because the ejection. Are you kind of settling now into your rotation?
Well, I think we feel a little more comfortable, but I think we played 9 guys in the first half. And then when we took Connor and Jay Will out, the lead quickly evaporated. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think one of the coaches said we got up by like 22, and then that thing got to 13 before I could even take another sip of Diet Pepsi. And so when we sub, you've got to at least maintain the lead. The lead can't all of a sudden drop. And so I think that's one of the areas we've got to get better at, because it happened the prior home game as well. We were up 31 in that game, and we started to go to the bench, and it went from 31 to 18 to 14 very, very quickly. So when you do go to the bench and you try to expand your rotation, there's got to be consistency in level of play. And the last 2 games there has not been. But I do foresee rotation wise, I do think that there will be we know Chris and Stan are the first 2 guys off the bench. That's been clearly identified. I do think when we go to the 3rd man off the bench, I will look at probably a different player than what I have over the last 3 games.
Hey,
Hey,
Coach.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.